Last week we had a small family get-together when a number of my cousins met up for the first time in many years. It was great. One had brought some old photos in an album, another had found some old cine film that he'd managed to convert, and we sat and watched it on his iPad. We talked about childhood memories, Christmases together, our nan and granddad, days spent on the beach at their beach hut, family holidays, weddings, and all those funny stories that you often tell when you're together as a family. I think our nan and granddad would have been very moved as we talked together, as we laughed together, but also remembered some of those sadder times when, often unknowingly, we supported each other simply by being there. Today I want to pay tribute to someone, my granddad, and I was reminded of a scripture. The scripture comes from Proverbs, and it says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." Well, he certainly did that. We are those children's children. And here's the thing, we are all Christians, and each one of us have been involved in church and ministry in one form or another. But this wasn't just a time of looking back. Great as that was, this was also very much about looking forward. And we've started making some plans already to do more things together in the future. Last week I talked about God's plan, and if you missed that talk, you'll be able to catch up on all the talks or the links at the bottom of this page, which takes you to our YouTube channel. The thing about these talks is that when I sit down and write them, I'm really talking to myself as much as anyone else. You see, it's good to look back, to remind ourselves of where we've come from, the things that over many years have shaped who we've become. But we also need to look forward. You see, I think often I find myself wanting church or ministries that I'm involved in to be like they were in the good old days. There are many aspects of my past that I'd love to live again. But whilst the past shapes who I am, it can't be allowed to stop me moving forward. I've been thinking a lot since last week's talk about God's plan, the fact that he has a plan that's just for me. And I've been asking myself, I wonder what that plan is. But in the same way that my family, my cousins, they've shaped who I am, I believe we're also shaped by being part of Christian fellowship, which we call church. Mark 3:35 says, "Whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." So I don't know what your family's like. I'm really lucky. That I've had a great family. I've got great relatives, great cousins around me. But you see, if you have a relationship with Jesus and you're part of a Christian community, then you, as the scripture says to us, have many brothers and sisters. And we can remember together, and we can laugh together, and we can at times support each other in those difficult times, just because we're there. May I suggest something to you today? Just take a moment to think about a few of those people that you would think of in that way, and maybe thank God for them. You might like to pray for them. You may even be prompted to drop them an email and let them know how much you appreciate them. You could, of course, get in touch and maybe suggest you go for a beer or a coffee. Just like with my cousins, it's good to get together, and we hadn't done it for what felt like far too long. But remember, the past may have been great, but the future's even better. And the future's even better because God has brought you into a family.